Okay, so now we are here with Tuula Teeri. You are the president of the Royal Swedish Academy of Engineering Sciences, and you were also the first president of the Aalto University. Welcome.
Thank you.
So I want to get right into it and talk about the extraordinary ability that Aalto University has had in creating these enormous fashion talents. You have exported fashion talents out of Helsinki at a rate that is staggering from a Nordic perspective, and it kind of pains my Swedish heart to say it, but I think this has been very interesting, especially since Finland doesn't really have a tradition of a lot of fashion brands in the way that your Nordic neighbors has. What do you think has been the reasons behind this evolution? Why are you able to produce these many fashion talents out of Helsinki?
That's a good question, and I actually have in my position when I was still president of Aalto University, I have had many discussions with the School of Arts and Design about this story that I think you can call it a success story without any reservation. And there are a few things that I think that have contributed to this success in the education. I mean, maybe the first thing is that something that Helena Hyvönen, who was the dean of the School of Art and Design at the time when I was rector, she was saying that one of the strengths in the design, fashion design in Aalto University was that we make our own materials. I think we can see it already today in this exhibition that we are sitting in, and the fact that there has been the tradition of the Finnish textile industry as a ground for this fashion design, which is now implemented. And that means that there has been both the talent, the understanding of how you prepare, how you make and manufacture textiles, but also the infrastructure to be able to do so. So you're not actually, the students in Aalto, they're not relying on ready-made fabrics from somebody else, but they can actually also use the fabric design as part of their fashion design. So I think that's one of those areas which I believe that has been quite important.
Right. So do you think there is a connection between the fact that there isn't so much opportunity to work within Finland, that the students have actually, aimed for an international career? Has that been a factor, do you think, in the teachings?
Well, I'm not sure that the fact that there are not opportunities in Finland. I mean, there are many of the students from Aalto University who have started their own fashion businesses, which I think is really delightful. And there is, of course, Marimekko, and there are a few other design houses in Finland. So it's maybe not the lack of jobs in Finland, but I think it's rather the strategy among the teachers at that department that they want to make the fashion designers that come out of the school fearless, so that they are exposed to all these international competitions, which then when they actually go up in the ranks in these design fashion competitions abroad, it gives them the kind of self-confidence that, okay, I can manage with my skills anywhere in the world. And that is, of course, very good also for the Finnish fashion design, because some of these people, they might go and work somewhere abroad in Paris or London or New York for a while, and then they might come back, as we have seen, for instance, to Marimekko or another one of those enterprises that we have in the fashion area in Finland.
So, sticking on this subject a little bit, and I'm curious about the connection between the sort of education, the bringing about of the students and the opportunities within Finland. Was there a lot of dialogue under your management between the industry and the school in terms of how to offer opportunities for the students?
When you talk with the teachers in the school and in the department, you get a very, very strong feeling that they are educating the people or the students to get jobs. And this is not always the case in all art schools, that, sometimes you feel like the kind of freedom of the art or something like that is more important than, then you will somehow manage your professional life. But I think there's been a very strong focus on job creation and job skills for the students. And for instance, Pirjo Hirvonen, who's been the professor actually almost all the time that I was there as a president, she has an industrial background. And so it's not only that, they are boosting the creativity, they are helping with the materials design, they are giving the tools for the students to manage, but they are also very strategically working to give them an understanding of what the business is about. And I think that this attitude has been strengthened now that Aalto University actually combined both technology and business into this artistic, more sort of artistic-based fashion design. So there are, for instance, courses for fashion merchandising these days, which didn't exist before Aalto University. So it's the art-based creativity, it's the materials design and the technology, together with a sense of business development and what these kind of jobs actually mean for the student when they enter the working life. So I think these are the strong elements of this education.
That's very interesting. Let's stick on that for a moment. I think that this sort of interaction between technology and fashion, or perhaps like creative expressions, is really important right now, and where we are in the world right now. And I'm curious where you see the role of the sort of fashion and design driven part of the education system. How should they adapt to new technologies? How should they look forward in terms of how these industries will, I would say, inevitably change?
Well, my own favorite subject is sustainable development. I've been working in my own research career with the bio-based materials and circular economy and bioprocesses and things like that. I think that is one element, that there is a very strong commitment to sustainable development at Aalto University. There's a very strong base in wood-based materials, and these kind of technologies that create materials which don't anymore pollute in the way. Also processes that don't pollute. I mean, the textile industry doesn't really have a glorious past, in being an environmentally friendly industry, and it needs to get there. And that means that, they have to be recyclable, they have to be benign processes, but they still have to have a very high performance. And so I think that this idea for the founders of Aalto University to put together art, design, business and technology, it really was timely, and I think that time will show that there will be followers in this strategy. And I'm thinking about, for instance, some of these materials that are now winning prizes and inspiring the students. Now they are bio-based material, like we call iron cell, and then the students were able to make a dress for the wife of the President of Finland, with this new material to really show. I think that's maybe something that you can also say that it's thanks to the fashion marketing, who could be a better role model for modeling these new kind of costumes, which are made of these sustainable materials. And she really wanted that dress, because of the sustainability aspect. So creativity, business sense, material design, marketing, these. When you put all these things together, Finland has a future in fashion design.
Wonderful. I enjoy that. We're right now here in Stockholm at the Institute in this wonderful exhibition. You have also moved on, so you're professionally living here and working here in Stockholm right now. Where do you see the opportunities for a deepened collaboration between Finland and Sweden in this area?
It's one of my it's a question which is very close to my heart, because all my life I have been working in between the two countries, Finland, Sweden, that's the story of my life, and I think that if you look at our history and if you look at our opportunities, our technology development, we are very, very like. There is so many connection points, so I think this is something that we could make much better use of by really working together with at least in the kind of art and sort of the beginning of the industries. I mean, it's clear that once you have the industries and they happen to be in one or the other country, then there will be competition or rivalry or whatever you like to call it. But in the basic development, I think that we understand each other. We have the same strengths. You know, we have forest-based materials. We have the digital technologies. We have many of these things together. Sweden is maybe a little bit better with marketing, and Finland might be a little bit more original, you know, with the designs, you know. But we could do much more together. The Nordic region, Nordic brands.
So let's. I'm not sure about the originality there. We can
We
debate
can
that
argue about
perhaps.
that.
But let's talk about what we can learn from each other. I think that's important. Let's go deep on that. Some would say that Finns maybe are a little bit more bold when it comes to particular fashion. I think this exhibition perhaps indicates that. But let's start with what can Swedes learn from Finns?
Well, we were actually, when we came to this, when I've thought about this, I mean, Minna Parikka came to my mind, you know, and she has been a shoe designer that has had kind of shoes with ears of a rabbit and things like that. And I haven't seen that kind of craziness in the Swedish design. The Swedish design is elegant and so on, but I think that there is some inherent craziness in the Finnish design, you know, which means that you're bold in a way that, you know, it addresses certain groups of people, users, young people, you know, some little bit more radical part of the young generation to test fashion. But of course, you know, there are exceptions on both sides. We also have very elegant designers in Finland, and has crazy designers, if you like.
Right.
So it's
Well,
not black and white, of course.
Exactly. Maybe there's a history of mystique in Finland that we can tap into as well.
That's right.
Yeah, I feel I can talk about this forever. This is so fascinating, but we're running out of time. You've been looking at Ervin's exhibition now, just prior to this interview. Are there any thoughts, anything that comes to mind when you see this? What do you think about it?
Yeah, I like very much this idea that, you know, you deviate from this kind of form that, okay, you're a middle-aged woman and you can't wear these kind of things, you know. I can see that I probably could wear some of these things, you know, or that it's not designed for a certain type of a person, but it's a beautiful dress or a beautiful coat, you know, which many people could think of wearing. And that's part of, for me, also the circular economy, you know. You can, you know, I can borrow my son can borrow my dress if he wants. So, and I'm really intrigued by the beauty of these materials. Like I said, I think that's the material design and the material manufacturing is part of the strength of the Aalto University design. And I think I can see it. You know, there's a kind of an interplay with the black leather and then flowers on the other side, and that's part of the boldness for me, and it's also part of the skill in materials design.
Tuula Teeri, thank you so much for speaking to us today.
Thank you. Pleasure.